Mr. Steinman, you've been talking about why oil must come down, and you've not given us the answer. Now, I'm sure that a lot of listeners are very confused right now. What's happening? What are you talking about, Mr. Steinman? Can you please give us details? So, just to get to that question, what happens in November? Because you mentioned it. What happens in the US in November? What will happen, and how will that impact us, whatever that will happen?
Elsevier, the midterm elections is scheduled for the beginning of November. And this is something that people here in Africa do not realize. But and I think it's very important that somebody should tell them that I should say this out loud. The American voter votes with his car.
Yeah.
Now let that sink in a little bit, and then you go. If you're not fully in agreement with me, then you think how important transport, vehicles, cars are to the average American. I mean, mobility is absolutely something that an American cannot imagine himself or herself without, you know. It's one of those American privileges. I want a car, I want a big V8, I want a gas guzzler, I want a Ford F-150 truck. So what is the political implication if I say the American voter votes with his car? It means that if his car costs him too much, if it starts taking money out of his pocket, then he starts looking around, he's trying to find a culprit. Why is my fuel, my gasoline is what they call it.
Yeah,
Why is my gasoline so expensive? And you need to look at the history of gasoline prices. And this is very important, and I hope I don't put off our readers because, there he goes again on one of his history trials. But it's very important to realize that in the United States, gasoline is priced per gallon. Now, a gallon, I think, is about 4.5 liters, more or less. So, if the average price over 30 years of 1 gallon of gasoline in the United States is in the region of $1.75 to $1.90. And since the trouble in Iran started, that price shot up to, now remember, this only happened in the last year and a half, only after Mr. Trump became president for his second term. So that shot up to about $2.50. And then earlier this year, it came down again to $1.80. That is now per gallon,
Yeah.
And it's US dollar, it's not Namibia dollar. So it's $1.80 for 1 gallon, so it's about 4.5 liters of fuel. And it settled at, I think the lowest point was early February at 175. And then on the 28th of February, the campaign against Iran started.
Yeah.
And a week later, gasoline was trading at $3.10. Now, Elsevier, that is double. And in many places in the United States, gasoline is now selling for $4 or very close to $4. So you can see that the American public that is used to a gasoline price of just below $2 per gallon is now suddenly faced with a price of about $3.90 per gallon, and in many places even $4.10 and $4.15 per gallon. So keep in mind what I said, the American voter votes with his car. So if suddenly, that also implies that they are fond of driving.
Yeah.
You know, so the car is not just bought and parked outside the Kombucha to look fancy, it is used. You know, so it means that the household, the typical household, spend a disproportionately large amount of its monthly income on transport, on travel, on fuel. And if the price of gasoline has more than doubled, it means that a big part of their disposable income has halved. Now you start to see the practical implications. And the moment that happens is then they start looking for a political reason. Then there's no more concern for what is production levels and what is the various classes of oil, and they lose all of that. They start focusing on what are the political reasons, and they are asked the question, how do we change that? In other words, that statement of mine, why the oil must come down, very simple. If oil does not come down, if the price of gasoline in the United States does not return to about $2 per gallon or slightly below, the midterm election will see the Republican Party lose political control. Now, if you keep in mind what has happened in American politics over the last year and a few months, do you get the impression that the Republicans are ready to let go of political control?
Well, they are not.
They are definitely not, Do you get the impression that Mr. Trump will change his agenda?
Nope.
Not at all.
He's not one that wants to lose or say, okay, I give up.
Okay, so do you now get behind my statement, the price of crude must come down, by hook or by crook? And I'm fairly sure that the Republican Party is going to try and make that happen, that the price of fuel reduces dramatically. Otherwise, come the 2nd or the 3rd of November, the day after the elections, they are no longer in charge. And they sit with a president that cannot achieve anything because he's lost the support of the Congress and the Senate.
And well, we unfortunately have to go for a short break. We'll be back after these.